Hey, what's up, guys? Alright, so another beautiful day today here in the ATL. It is now Monday. It's 1:34 p.m. It is March 20th, 2017. Okay, today I'm gonna do another special video for you. I've been hearing a lot about this on Coast to Coast AM, and where did the road go with Soraya, even the Whitley Strieber show, when he's and all of these here. The story I'm going to talk about is the same story that David Paulides mentions in a lot of his interviews, depending on, I think it's volume 3 of the Missing 411 books that he talked about on a radio show that I was listening to last night, because I was trying to find out what Eric Lewis's name was at the time. I couldn't remember, so I was listening to every interview that he gave, because they got this 24-hour video of Coast to Coast AM with him being interviewed, and it's like 24 hours of interviews of David Paulides. So I went through all of them trying to make sure I caught the conversation he had with George Knapp about Eric Lewis, and I finally got it yesterday. So that's why I did the video early this morning, which I probably should have still waited until today, like later on today, because I was like extremely tired this morning. When I got home, I was saying things that I wasn't really trying to say, because that happens when I get real sleepy. I'll mention something that ain't got nothing to do with what I'm talking about sometimes. It's like trying to talk to someone on the phone and you got your eyes closed, and then you say something out of the blue that ain't got nothing to do with what you were talking about. It's kind of like it's like the sleepy version of bipolar, because you just, anything fly out your mouth at that point. But anyway, today I'm going to talk about another ghostly experience that I had. I would mention I wanted to do. Well, you know what? I'm gonna just stick to what I already said I was gonna do. I'm gonna do half and half. One ghost experience, and then the next video I do a UFO experience. Like I said before, most of them, most of them are small experiences. They're not like your elaborate big experiences, like you being sucked up into a UFO and being operated on, and then you end up with these scoop marks on your body, and then you find out you got a probe or some sort under your skin. All this stuff. I never had that happen to me, but I did have a UFO experience. I was coming home from somewhere. This was like back in maybe late 90s, early 2000s. I'm driving down the street, and I happen to just look up while I'm driving. It's at night, and I see a bright light underneath the moon. Then all of a sudden it curved up and went at a 2 o'clock angle. Like I said, it's small, but yet I still have some, and then there was one, I'm trying to make sure I remember. I can't remember what year. I think it was in my mother's backyard, her old house. And I was just seeing these bright lights flying all over the place. And I used to take my telescope to the front, of the house in the driveway, and I would look up. I was looking at the Orion's constellation. Excuse me. And I just happened to be looking through my telescope. I was looking in this general direction, and I'm looking at the Orion's constellation, and I could see this bright light moving around, making all these elliptical movements in the sky, like figure eights, and it'll like shoot down this way and slowly curve up, shoot back this way and slowly curve up, and it would slow up. It would speed up and slow down in all these crazy movements, like figure eights, and it would be all over the place. And it looked like it was flying somewhere near the Orion's constellation. Now, it could have been high up in the Earth's atmosphere, because you have the atmosphere, the stratosphere, heliosphere, and ionosphere. So whichever layer it was in, it might have been directly above the earth. I'm not sure, but it was probably moving around. It was like in the same position. Like, say if you're looking towards the Orion's constellation and then you see that light moving around, it was in that direction. So it was directly in front of it at the time when I was looking at it through my telescope. And all I could see was like a white dot just moving around. It was, like I said, it would speed up and then shoot down, and it would slow down and come back up and shoot this way and slow down. It would just speed up and slow down, speed up and slow down all over the place. So, you know, that right there, I was like, oh, snap, a UFO, cool. You know, I was enjoying it. But yeah, that was my initial UFO experience. In my next video, I'm going to talk about a very special ghost experience, and it happened right in the middle of a bunch of people, and it was right here in my house. So, and I got a bunch of experiences I could talk about that happened here in my house too within the past 2 years. So, but yeah, today's story is going to be about Eric Lewis. Now, this is a story that David Paulides talked about all the time, because it was like practically one of the weirdest ones that you ever could have heard about on Coast to Coast AM. Okay. Like I said, once again, his name is Eric Lewis. He disappeared on 07/01/2010. The description is he disappeared on Mount Rainier in Washington. Okay, climber missing near Mount Rainier summit from Associate Press. That's what this information is coming from, the Associate Press. Okay, July 23rd. No, that's not it. Okay, Ashford, Washington. Okay, here we go. Ashford, Washington, AP. I don't know what that means. A day of searching for a 57-year-old climber who unclipped his rope and vanished near Mount Rainier summit has ended without locating the man. A National Park Service spokeswoman said Friday night. Now, from what the eyewitness account said, which was 2 other people that he was climbing with, these were their exact words. He was attached to that rope because they were pulling each other up on the side of this mountain. Okay, and the second guy, the one in the middle, said that all of a sudden the rope went limp and he looked back and he disappeared. Now, with other people who will hear this story or whatever they print and put out on the social media or in the newspaper, they're going to say that he untied his rope or he cut his rope where he fell to his death. First of all, it's common sense that if anyone were to either cut or untie their rope from the attachment leading up to other climbers, you're going to hear this person scream and yell, and you're going to know that he's falling at this point. And then if the sound stops, you know he hit the ground or a part of the mountain where he bashed his, he crashed his head into the side of a mountain and he kept going or whatever. He tumbled to his death. They didn't hear all that. They said that the rope went limp, and when they looked back, he was gone. He disappeared. So, in light of what's been happening to the other people that seem to disappear without a trace, or they turn up dead with no cause of death on the body, in his case, obviously, even if you're in midair, you're not safe because you can disappear in midair. It's almost like something opened up around him and swallowed him. But it was like an energy that is unseen by the naked eye, and you get sucked into it, or some invisible creature was able to wrap its entire mouth around him and bite down on the rope, causing it to be a clean cut right all the way across. Now, if excuse me, if he cut the rope with a knife, they're going to see the cuts. Like, is it like you're gonna see the evidence of a rope being cut, because it's gonna have those little tiny little rope sprigs that's being spread out in all different directions as it's being cut. So you're gonna see a cut from a knife in that rope. Now, if something was clean cut to where it was like, let's say somebody used a laser and just went and cut right across, it would look like a clean cut. Now, I don't know the condition of the rope, and if That, I mean, if they still have the rope as far as evidence, it would show that it was just a clean cut all the way across or all the way through. But there's no mention of the condition of the rope from where he was disconnected. Okay, but all I can say is that he disappeared, in mid-air. So, like I said, even in cases like that, you're not safe, in mid-air. And he was one of the most experienced climbers in that area. He was one of the top. They don't know anyone that could get as good as he was. But yeah, I'm gonna read the rest of this here. Okay. The search for Eric Lewis of Duval, Washington, involved teams of Park Service climbing rangers and commercial mountain guides combing the upper reaches of the 14,410 foot peak. Mount Rainier National Park spokeswoman Lee Taylor said. The search will resume Saturday, she said. 2 helicopters, one from Fort Lewis and another from a private company, flew for several hours Friday when weather permitted. The weather was overcast with a heavy cloud layer at 8,000 feet for much of the day. Lewis and 2 climbing partners were ascending near the 14,000 foot level Thursday afternoon in low visibility, with Lewis last on the rope line. When the first 2 climbers stopped to rest, they discovered Lewis had unclipped from the rope and was nowhere to be seen, Taylor said. Okay, once again, like I said, they said, and I quote, that when they looked back, he just disappeared. Now, it would look like he unclipped his rope from the attachment. But here's the clue here, the key clue. There was no sound coming from him at the time when this happened. Because remember, they were in mid-air, and he was dangling from this rope. I can't say that he was actually on the side of this mountain or on the face of it. All I can say is that he was below them, attached to this rope, and he was dangling at this point. And to them, it was like he unclipped his rope attachment and he fell to his death. But that's not what they said. They said that when they looked back, he disappeared. Well, not when they looked back, but he was gone from the rope because they felt the rope go limp. Now, once again, like I said, there was no sound coming from him when that happened. Like, if he unclipped his rope and he wanted to commit suicide, you would have heard him falling to his death. Now, if he had planned all of that, he would have tried to stay quiet until he hit the ground on purpose. Now, I don't know anyone that could actually do that. I'm pretty sure they can if they plan the whole thing and they wouldn't want to make a sound to alarm people. But there was no sound coming from him when that happened. So it's anybody's guess as to what really happened to him. But I'm just going by what was said by David Paulides and what this is saying here. Okay, there was no sound coming from this man when he disappeared from sight. So, anyway. Let's see. The 2 climbers searched the nearby area, but could not find Lewis. They contacted rangers at Camp Muir at about the 10,000 foot level, who began a search that was expanded Friday. Searchers located Lewis's backpack and shovel Friday morning at 13,600 feet and a snow cave where Taylor said he may have sought shelter at 13,800 feet. Crews don't know what happened to Lewis, but speculate he might have dug a snow cave to get some rest after becoming separated from his companions, and that when he started his descent, he dropped his backpack, climbing harness, and shovel to lighten his load, Taylor said. Now, once again, this is all speculation. This is not just because of what they said. This is just basic details and things to do if something like that was to happen. That's the protocol, obviously. Oh, okay. Let's see. We have a dozen skilled climbers on the mountain and at least 20 others providing other types of support. We're doing everything we can to find him and get him down safely. Search incident commander Glenn Kessler said earlier Friday. Lewis was climbing with Trevor Lane and Don Storms. Their ages and hometowns were not immediately available. I mean, like I said, Eric, he was like 57 years old, so he was almost 60. Yet he was in good enough condition to do all that climbing. Obviously, he's been doing it for a very long time. Now it says here also, which is an update, Omaha woman's son presumed dead on Mount Rainier. Eric Lewis, 57, went missing while climbing Thursday, and Omaha woman is trying to understand how her son, an experienced climber, lost his way on Washington's Mount Rainier Thursday. Eric Lewis, 57, went missing during a storm, and rescuers have given up hope he will be found alive. Now, this was posted at 8:33 p.m. July 5th, 2010. The reporter's name was Jody Baker. Now, this is just some some same information about his disappearance, and one little mention about his mother. So it was almost like a repeat of what I had already read. It says right here, Lewis's mother believes he simply knew his physical limitations, possibly short of breath or in pain, and that he needed to head back down. I think he was in trouble, and I think he probably told them, I can't go any further. There may have been so much wind and noise that they couldn't communicate. Okay, if that was the case, they would have mentioned the fact that it was very noisy and they couldn't hear him when he fell. And I'm not saying that's not a possibility, because if you're on a mountain peak, you're gonna get that updraft or even a downdraft, and it's gonna be a lot of wind blowing and everything. Because the higher you go, the windier it gets. I know that for a fact, because when I went on the top of Mount Mauna Kea in Hawaii back in 2017, we're talking about 30,000 feet. So the air was actually getting thin to where my lungs were starting to burn. Okay, so burn, boil, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, the higher you get, the thinner the air gets and the windier it gets. So that's a true factor, but it was not mentioned by them. They said they looked back and he disappeared. I don't think they want to even mention the creepy stuff. That's why they added he cut his line or he untied it and he fell to his death. Now he was telling him that they can't go on. Now, if he had said that, they would have told them that too. They wouldn't keep that from the public, especially from his own mother. I'm pretty sure she knew them well also. But the fact still remains, he disappeared from sight while being connected to that rope. So, with that being said, with all the strange disappearances that have been happening over the past couple of centuries, you can't rule out that part where he just disappeared, why he was attached to that rope or that harness. So for anyone to say anything otherwise, that is mere speculation, because they don't want to believe the unbelievable. They would rather believe something more logical, like he cut the rope to say, well, I can't go on any longer, you guys go ahead, don't worry about me, or he untied it and fell to his death. Now, even if it's that much wind, you're still going to hear him screaming at that point. A loud noise coming from a person that's falling to their death, you're going to hear that through the wind. Regardless, it ain't going to be as audible, but you're still going to hear something which is going to make you alert, and you're going to look back and you're going to see this man falling to his death. Now, they looked back as soon as the rope went limp, and they didn't see him. So obviously, you still would have seen him falling to his death, and it would have been too late for you to try and save him, because he was already, pretty much he was already dead at that point if he fell to his death. And I don't know if that's a straight shot down to the rocky floor, or if it curves a little and he hit the base of the mountain and started to tumble, and probably he could have broke his neck or cracked his skull from that hit. I don't know, but still, that is the evidence right here. That's what was said by his two companions. The second guy looked back and he was gone after he noticed that the rope went limp. You know, and anybody's gonna notice that if you got some guy dangling from you, and it's gonna be like one of these numbers. You know, kind of like if you're looking at a grandfather clock and it's got that little rod with the little disc at the bottom and it's swaying side to side like that. That's kind of like how it is with a person who is dangling from this rope, and you got another guy that's attached to it above you. You're gonna be swaying from side to side unless you got your legs and your feet on the side of that mountain. Now, I'm not a mountain climber, so I'm just going by what I feel should be, just going by what I think would happen, or what I can see in my own mind of how that works. Now, was he dangling? I don't know. Did he have his hands and his feet on the side of that mountain? I don't know that either. But either way, even if he did, and he just disappeared from sight, the rope alone would have just started going like this. They would have felt the weight of this person underneath them because of his body pulling on this cable. Okay, so that does happen where you got this person attached to you and you climbing that mountain. You got his weight underneath you. I would imagine he will lighten the load by him grabbing onto the mountain. But if not, they're pulling him up with the weight of the other person, in that second row. So you got 1, 2, and then the guy on the bottom. So, like I said, that's just me talking off the top of my head about what I feel the whole climbing aspect is all about. I don't know. I don't do mountain climbing. I don't do rock climbing. I don't do national forests or national parks. Even before I found out about this stuff, I never did it. I've been in parks before, but these parks had basketball courts, and playgrounds for kids. I've never gone in any kind of park like that. I've been in the woods before, in North Carolina, not the Brown Mountains in North Carolina, because that's the place where a lot of people disappear. Okay, so I would never go there either. And my family is from North Carolina, but Goldsboro, North Carolina. I actually passed by. We actually passed through a national park in North Carolina, because it was attached to like an Air Force base, I think, or a military base. And I did see Brown Mountain, North Carolina. I think it was called Brown Mountain, North Carolina. I'm not sure, but I did see that sign that led to that place on the way to Goldsboro, because we was going to my grandmother's funeral, that same day. So that is a place, and it's very spooky. They talk about the Brown Mountain lights. Well, they actually have foul footage of these orbs shooting across the sky, and they disappear and they reappear. They be flying all over the place, and they got foul footage of this. But there's also stories of people who disappeared from the slavery days all the way up until probably the mid to late 90s or whatever. And it's probably still happening today. I'm not sure, but if one person goes into that forest and they don't come back, a search party will go in and look for them, and they don't come back. This was just one after the other. There was a story about a woman that went in there. She never came out, so a search party came to look for them, and they disappeared. Now, going way back to the slavery days, one of the slave masters went into the forest, and he never returned. So they sent his slaves out to look for him, and they never returned either. So it's just one big mess after another. You say you leave, they leave. You leave, you disappear. They come find you, they disappear along with you. It's weird. So I won't be going to the Brown Mountains. You can forget that. I love North Carolina, but I won't be going to that part. I can guarantee you, because I don't want to even fathom what could happen to me at that point, because I know I'd never return. So I just stay right here with my feet planted firmly on the ground. But anyway, that was pretty much it on that one. Yeah, that was, pretty much cut and dry on that part. Now, I could read another story from, a sobering coincidence if I have to. Let me see. Because, like I said, I like to try and see if I can read up on a story to add more to it, so it'll be at least about an hour. It's got a bunch of stories in here, a lot of short stories. They got 2 short stories, as a matter of fact. One about Craig Burrows and one about Anthony Skifton. So I'll read that one first. Okay, this one is about, once again, Anthony Skifton. He went missing on 10/05/1997 in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Oh, wait. Did I read that one already? Oh no, wait. I think the last guy I read about disappeared in a place just like that. It had the same name. Yeah, yeah. It was a Charles Blacks. He just disappeared in the same city. Okay. I hate those dragon calls where you try to let it out, but it just kind of drags before it comes out. Excuse me. Okay, he was at the age of 19 when he disappeared. This case is approaching 20-year-old, 20-year-old and 20 years old, and details are getting harder to find. Anthony was a local young man, but not a and not a college student. Oh, not a college student. Okay. His residence was at 820 Caledonia Street in La Crosse. He went to high school at a parochial school, whatever that is. Specifically, so he wouldn't have to swim. It was reported that he was deathly afraid of water and always stayed away from it. Wow, I kind of know how he feels because I don't know how to swim, so I ain't going nowhere near water. I'll be on the beach, but I'm not setting 1 foot because that's going to be real creepy. Okay. On October 5th, 1997, Anthony went to a party in town. The exact time he left isn't known, but he left alone, like all the others as well. Sometime that night he disappeared. There was a major search with the community coming together. The city was rocked by Anthony going missing. Just 7 days earlier, Charles Blacks vanished. See, nobody knew why these young men had disappeared. On October 22nd, 1997, Anthony was found in the Mississippi River dead. When they recovered his body, they found that the zipper on his shorts were down. There's that scenario again. There was talk that law enforcement believed that he was emptying his bladder, which sounds about right, but still, most people who let down, they said the zipper was down. They didn't say his belt, that the shorts was unfastened. So maybe that's what it was. Okay. Let me see. There was talk that law enforcement believed that he was emptying his bladder in the river, fell in and drowned. Okay, first of all, he said he went to a party. It didn't say that he was drinking. It doesn't mention anything about his alcohol level. But how you go to the edge of a river, you pee in it, and then fall in? Now, if the edge of the water or the ground leading into the water was wet from and muddy from that, maybe he could have lost his grip and fell. But I don't think he would have fell into the river like that and drowned. He probably would have fell backwards if his foot slipped and landed on his butt. That's my interpretation, because when I slip, my feet fly forward and I fall back. Now, if you on ground like that and you slip, let's just say if you're running towards the water, say, oh, I gotta pee, and he slips, falls head first into the water, I can understand it. But he still got his body on the ground, so that means he's half in the water and half on land. Now, to me personally, when I think about that, if he hit the water that hard, I don't think he would have drowned just like that. He would have been able to get himself back up, because the water would have secured his fall when his upper torso hit the water along with his face. So now, if there was rock underneath the water, right at the edge of the of the land portion, I could see his head getting bashed in, but it didn't. I have to read more into it to see if he had any head trauma. But anyway, let's see. If fell in and drowned. Okay. An October 22nd, 1997 article in the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel had the following from friends and family. Friends and family were stunned when Skifton's body was pulled from Swift Creek because they said he was deathly afraid of water. Swift Creek is a very small arm of the Mississippi River that runs along the eastern side of the river in downtown La Crosse. I should mention that I have written several stories in the past books where young men have been found with their zipper down or their pants pulled down to their knees. Okay, now the pants pulled down to your knees part would be them trying to take a crap, near water, and maybe when they bent down like this here to cross themselves over the water or whatever, their foot may have gave way and slipped underneath, like on mud maybe, or if they were halfway into the water so that it'll go into the water, their foot might have lost its grip underneath all that residue underneath the water and dirt and stuff like that, and they fell in that way, and maybe the current sent them downstream. But still, how could you fall in like that and not try to pull yourself up before you drown? Because I would imagine it would take a while for you to drown if you were still available to keep yourself from, I don't know. That's just my interpretation about the whole situation. I'm not completely sure how that would work, because that's never happened to me before. And I try to make sure that it don't, because like I said, I'm a little fearful of the water as well, especially when I know what can happen to a person. Okay, zip it down. Yeah, okay. They were found in the middle of the woods, dead under very unusual circumstances. Okay, see, this is near body water. This is in the woods or in the forest. Okay, the coroner ruled that Anthony died from accidental drowning. He had a blood alcohol level of 0.23%. Okay, so yeah, I mean, he was at a party, so obviously he was going to be drinking. Plus, he was 19 years old too, so naturally, young men want to drink at parties. So yeah, okay, so he did have a blood alcohol level of 0.23, and I think David Paulides said if your alcohol level goes above 0.05 or 0.10, then you're not able to basically drive or whatever the case may be. So, but still, I would think there still would have been some type of situation where you could pull yourself out of that, but apparently not. Okay, now this one is about Chris Burrows. He went missing on 09/29/02 in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. He was 23 years old when he disappeared. Okay, this is a story about a homegrown young man, Craig Burrows, who was born June 30th, 1979 in Eau Claire. That's spelled E-A-U, so I'm guessing Eau Claire. And graduated from North High School in 1998. He went on to attend the University of Wisconsin Stout in Menominee, something like that. And later was hired by 3M in Eau Claire. That's that computer company, I guess, or that printing company. Okay. He enjoyed the outdoors and spent much of his time fishing and hunting. He especially liked the family's cabin at Hunter Lake 100 miles, northeast from his home. Oh, jeez. Okay. On September 28, 2002, Craig decided to go downtown to drink with friends. It's that part again, going downtown at a bar to drink with friends. He was last seen at a bar on Water Street in the early morning hours of September 29th. When Craig didn't show up for work the following day, people got suspicious and reported him as a missing person. I could not locate any specific details on the search for Craig. You've got to remember that Craig knew this town and the neighborhood very well. There was a search, and nothing of value led law enforcement to where he might be. On October 6th, 2002, a fisherman was at the edge of Half Moon Lake, saw something unusual, and called police. This October 7th, 2002 article in the Chippewa, I'm trying to make sure I remember. I'm trying to figure out how to say this. It's a Chippewa. So that's a Chippewa Herald had dragging cough again. Jeez. Lose my place here. Let's see. Okay, this October 7th, 2002 article in the Chippewa Herald had the details. A body pulled from a lake Sunday was identified as a man missing for a week. An autopsy found 23-year-old Craig Burrows accidentally drowned, said Sergeant John Arnett of the Eau Claire Police Department. Yes, Sergeant. It was spelled the wrong way. Anyway, okay, I should state that Half Moon Lake is almost in the middle of the city and a location people go to enjoy a lakeside view. This case has always struck me as one of the most odd of all disappearances in this book. Craig went to high school less than 2 miles from where he met his death. I don't care how intoxicated you are, you'd know where the lake was located. It's pretty obvious that the city of Eau Claire believes the lake is in a safe location because they built Lakeshore Elementary School directly across the street. The lake is anywhere from 2 blocks to 8 blocks from Water Street. The Chippewa River is closer to Water Street than the lake. The river bisects the city, traveling in a general north to south direction. After reading the large number of these cases, you start to try to rationalize it away. Craig fell into a stagnant, non-moving body of water in late September. Anybody could have easily pulled him or herself out of the water if they were not drugged. That's what I said. Okay, I looked hard for a mention of the toxicology results and could not find anything that was released to the public. If anyone believes that Craig wasn't used to being around water, look at a map of Hunter Lake. There are hundreds of small bodies of water surrounding his family's vacation home. Craig Burrows knew the dangers associated with ponds and small lakes. Something unusual happened to this young man. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, because think about it. All these young men seem to somehow be drawn to a body of water and they end up dead. So it's almost like they are hypnotized in some way and they are led to this lake where they meet their death. The question is, how is it that they can get into a body of water by falling in? Or basically, they're either... Okay, my thing is they were probably dead before they even hit the water, number one. Because there's still no way for him to fall in that water and not pull himself out. Because, like I said, if he's at the edge of the water or edge of the land before you enter the water, and it's muddy because of the little small waves that may come up on shore, and you may probably lose you walk in, or you may sometimes if you if your feet is on mud, your feet kind of slip, so you got to kind of get your balance before something was to happen. And if, let's just say, he lost his balance and his feet slipped on the mud, he wouldn't have went face first unless he was running towards the water, and to use the bathroom, because me myself, I'm not gonna wait till I get to a lake to use the bathroom. I'm gonna pee right there in the mud, or wherever else. I mean, that's how we used to do when I was a kid, especially living in New York. You pretty much, if you had to pee, you went near an alley or something like that, or even if you was on a highway, my grandfather would pull over and we'd pee in the grass, and that was it. Head on our way, to wherever we were going to. So, but somebody in his case, it's obvious that if he lost his footing, his feet went forward, and his body went up, and his butt slammed down onto the mud. So technically, to me personally, he wouldn't have been in that position where he drowned in the water. Now, like I said, if he was running towards the water and to use the bathroom because he didn't want to pee on land or whatever the case may be, he would have ran, and then he would have slipped, went up in the air, and slammed right into the water, or his body just would have went forward and went face first into the water. But he still would have had leverage to where he could pull himself up and get out of the water. He would have been soaked and wet, but still, there's still something not right about that. So I'm thinking he was dead before he hit the water, and they placed him in the water on purpose, whoever these people are. Now, like I said before, when these people end up dead or in situations where they don't come back, it's almost like they're waiting for a very long time just to strike. And they choose certain types of people. You got young children who have, medical problems or mental problems, where they autism, or they have some sort of ailment where they can't speak, they're deaf, they're whatever the case may be. And then you have your intellectuals who have a high IQ count. Okay, why just these people taken? There's no vagrants being taken, no homeless people, no criminals, no rapists, no murderers, none of that. It's almost like they need their intelligence for some other reason. But with the children, if they have these problems where they can't speak, or they have autism, they have some sort of ailment, and those children are taken, what could they possibly be of use as far as they go? I just don't get it. But when they're found, they're always found dead. So obviously they need them for their life force, because they're young, they're vibrant, and they have all the energy in the world. So they steal that from them, and then they just toss them back to this plane, dead, with no cause of death. Going back to the soul drinker that I showed you guys in my last video. Obviously, it may be some sort of creature that can't survive without someone's life force or their soul. That's what they feed on to stay alive, I guess. But that's just me talking. That's my interpretation of the whole situation. So with that being said, that's all I got for right now. As always, I'm going to be returning with some more videos, so you guys just stay tuned. Keep your eyes peeled on my notifications, as well as keep your ears ready to hear the tone, because I will be making more. If I don't make another one today, obviously I'm going to make it tomorrow, because I have to go to work today. It's already 2:17, so I got to be out of here by 3-something, 3:30, 3:45, so I can be there by 4:30. So I will try to make another one for tomorrow, because tomorrow's my day off, actually. And they haven't said anything about off the overtime, so I have both of my days off. They're getting kind of crazy in my job right now for some reason. So with that being said, you know what to do, guys. Like and subscribe if you like this video. I want to welcome 2 more subscribers. Well, 1 more actually, because I had 2 really. I want to welcome you guys to my channel. I hope you enjoy the videos that I'm putting out, and I hope you can scroll down and look at some of the previous ones. They go all the way back to about maybe 2 years, and then I got a video on my ghostly experiences that I compiled into one video. But I'm also doing an update now with every video that I create. So all I'm saying is, hope you're having a good time, and you other guys, my other fans, you know what to do. Like and subscribe. Hit me up with a comment below if you got anything to say about what I've been talking about. Got any theories or any views on what I'm saying, what I'm talking about. And if you got anything that you can tell me about the organ exchange thing, hit me up. Okay, you know where to find me. Hit me up with a comment below, email me, whatever the case may be, and tell your friends about me, so I can get those numbers up with my subscribers. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm enjoying this. I enjoy giving you guys the info that you need to hear about these disappearances and finding other stories that dealing with the same situations. There's something else that I want to really get into as well. There's a total of 10 to 12 young women that disappeared in Washington, D.C. They disappeared within 1 year, 2017 or 2016. So I'm going to be looking into that too to find out what's going on with that. And hopefully it's not this organ exchange that I talked about earlier. It might be, I'm not sure, but it's a very big ongoing epidemic when it comes to these situations and people turning up dead with no organs in their body, because the parents said the same thing about their son, Kendrick. When they exhumed the body and they wanted to do the autopsy, all they found was newspaper stuffed in his body, which is creepy enough as it is. So I really don't know what to say about that. It's probably the creepiest thing I ever heard. But yeah, that organ harvesting of black people is really getting big, And the same thing happened with I know I said this in my last video, in the video about Kendrick, but even Trayvon Martin, same with him. They found newspaper in his body. His organs were missing. So I don't know what's going on and why they feel they have to go after black people. I'm not trying to make this a race thing. I'm really not, but it's just an ongoing thing. I'm just shocked because I just found out about this last night with a coworker of mine. I never knew that's what happened with him. And that's why they couldn't do the autopsy. To find out what happened, because they just said it was some sort of blunt force trauma to the neck or to the head. At one point they said the head and then they said the neck. So I don't know. But anyway, I gotta go, guys. Aloha, mahalo, and a hui ho. Have a great day.